Aloha from Maui. I'm here today at the Art of Living Joyfully podcast, and I'm super excited to be with a friend of mine named Kathy. And we're going to have Kathy come share her amazing story and of resiliency and gratitude and all the things that we talk about that bring a joyful life. And I'm super excited to know her. I got to meet her a, just a couple years back because I met you at one place and heard your story, and then we've been connected since. And then I got to see you again not too long ago in Denver. So I'm really grateful that you are taking the time to share, with my audience, the people that actually listen to this. They love things, all things joyful wellness, and that's what we're about. So it's right now, it is 8 o'clock in the morning here on Maui. So Kathy, come introduce yourself a little bit. Tell us where you're at and what time it is for you there.
Well, thank you so much for inviting me. And I have been so blessed by getting to know you in person and also through online and the way you share so authentically of life and joy and your world. So I am 60 years old, which is a huge milestone for me because 25 years ago, the doctors didn't think I would live to see my young children graduate high school. So I celebrate every year, and I can share a little more about that um, later. But I have 5 children, 4 boys and a girl, and the youngest is 25. And we are living just outside of Cincinnati in Kentucky, and it's 1 o'clock here.
Wow. I know. I love your story so much. And it is amazing when we've had life challenges such as that. And we make it through. It is so empowering. And I too just feel every single day so much gratitude for being here and being able to share and make a difference. And hopefully something that we share today will touch somebody and help them through what they're
Mhm.
going through, because it's part of the human experience, I guess. Kathy and I both represent a company, Isogenics. We love it. It's been a great blessing for us. I talk about it all the time. It's my healthy toolbox. We're in the age of supplementation. There is no doubt about it, whether that's supplementing your physical body with nutrition and supplements and all the wonderful things that we have, or it's supplementing your mind with coaching and mindset work, or it's supplementing your
Mhm.
wallet with extra income, right? Because stress all around in those areas really does, it clogs it up, right? It doesn't help things flow very well. And I know it darn near killed me. And it was really very challenging to go through some things that I went through. And I made it through by letting go of resentments and finding gratitude and learning to love myself again and taking care of myself, addressing the deficiencies, the stress, and the toxins. And so I'm so grateful for that understanding that we've both really experienced and been able to share. And so I would love for you to tell us more about this experience where you faced some, dire
Mhm.
news, and for most people, it would just really take them down. And it's hard, I know, because I've been down. It's hard to get back up. What did you do, and how did addressing these deficiencies and the stress really make a difference in your life? Share with us your experience.
Okay, so in 2000, I was 34 years old. I was in very good health, no risk factors, had our fifth baby, and had a very rare complication on childbirth that is usually found on autopsy. So my left coronary artery dissected, means it tore on the inside, and it caused a large clot, which caused a heart attack and quadruple bypass surgery. So the doctor said, based on the amount of damage that was done to that side of the heart, that if I survived the 5-hour surgery, I'd be bedridden for life. So thankfully, the Lord had other plans, and I did improve some that first year. But after that, I was in slow health decline for the next, well, for a total of 19 years. When this occurred, my oldest of 5 children was 8 years old. So I was faced I was given the reality from the doctors that if I had chest pain, I was overworking my heart. They were able to do tests and show that. So that meant an afternoon nap every afternoon. It meant going to bed at night early. It meant missing out on activities and travel. My husband took over, the kids took over, and I became a spectator. And so it was a real struggle for someone who's super active. I mean, I was backpacking in Alaska after college. I loved being outdoors, and I wasn't able to. And gratitude is what helped keep me out of that dark place of depression. So my challenge to myself was not to look forward on what I might not see with my children's future, and not to look back at what I had lost, but to really stay present today, focusing on where my blessings were. And I tell you, Janice, one of the days I was in such a low place that all I could think of was that I had oxygen to breathe. I mean, I couldn't even be thankful for my husband and my kids. I was so low. And yet, that exercise of always looking for God's blessings and showing gratitude, being thankful of all things, has really, really served me well in these 25 years of the journey He's had me on. And I love that it overflows. It's my default now. So.
I love it. And there's no, there's no doubt in my mind why, first of all, we're both attracted to this wonderful system that we're on because of it's just the whole package is so beautiful and in alignment with gratitude, and joy, of course, and energy. And I'm just grateful that I can be surrounded in a community of people that are of this like mindset, because I feel the same way, and gratitude got me out of it. And just something as simple as being grateful for clean sheets, that I can remember that, and many times in my life. I'm 62, and medication free, and just so grateful for the little things. So I completely relate to that, and just appreciate you sharing that, because it's important for people to understand we have to look for the good. We have to look for what we want projected into our life, right? So how would you say, besides gratitude, though? I mean, someone introduced you to what you did, and tell us that
Yes.
part of the journey too, because that's important. And that's what helped me release finally the 100 pounds that I had put on, coupled with the mindset work and the gratitude. I had to address those deficiencies and supplement. And I was so grateful that Isogenics came to me at the time that it did, because it was the perfect connection. And I was, drawn to it and ready for it. And that's key. So how did it happen for you?
Happy to share that. I just am so thankful. But to set the context, so for 19 years, I'm needing a nap every afternoon, 1 to 2 hours, and it was exhausted sleep. Or I'd have chest pain. I was missing out on things, and there was a slow decline. And my background's genetics. I looked into science. I love to research, but I trusted that there was no solution, because that's what the medical community told me. And the best case was a heart healthy diet, and just come back and see us. Slow loss of quality of life is what I was told by the specialist. Um, so in 2018 at Christmas, I was having to limit the amount of time I went up the steps to the bedrooms in the house, because my heart rate would be too high. I was not supposed to allow my heart rate to go over 125, and washing dishes at the sink, it was going to 117. So no real exercise, very little mobility in the house. And I was desperate, because what I wanted to have my kids, two of my boys got married that year. I wanted to be able to be a part of their future. And a friend of mine that I've known for a lot of years posted about having increased energy for 7 years with a healthy nutrition reset, metabolic reset. So I reached out to her. I took the information to my cardiologist and I said, I plan to do this. Do you have any objections? And he did not. I asked him to check me in 3 months. So I got started on that. And like you said, it's addressing nutrient deficiency, stored toxins, and inflammation. And I feel like it's like a dryer where you clear out the lint and then it can function as designed. So I'll tell you, at 3 weeks, I'm lying in bed from my nap and I have so much energy, I can't sleep. And I am feeling so good. And I am have all this energy. My 19-year-old daughter called an older brother out of state and said, I don't know what's up with mom, but she has energy. I've never seen her like this. He thought she was exaggerating. He comes to town 2 weeks later. I don't know about this till later. And he watches and he says, I've never seen her like this either. And my husband heard it and he said, this is the way your mom used to be. You just don't remember. Oh, chokes me up when I hear that. But he watched for 5 weeks and said, I want what you have. I started, I didn't know where my boundary was, my threshold, how much I could do before my heart would kick in. Because for almost 20 years, that was my limit. And so we started walking together, my husband and I, in the hills in Knoxville at the time. And I tried 1 mile and my heart rate staying around 100. And I go 2 miles. And I was walking 2 to 4 miles. By the time I go to see the cardiologist in that 3 month mark, his jaw dropped. I wish I had my camera. He had me, and I could, there's details I'm happy to share, but I'll skip over that part. He had me do a nuclear treadmill because he wanted to check the comparison and some other things. And I maxed the treadmill. And he pulled the scans and he looked at the one I had done 19 years earlier in my recovery from the surgery. And he said, the damage is the same, but your heart is functioning so much better that I'm going to raise your heart rate limit to 155. So this is after 19 years of decline. And I always want it, whenever I share this, I always want to make sure that it's clear. We don't claim to cure, treat, prevent, diagnose, but wow, is the body an amazing miracle. And when it has what it needs, it can be its healthy best. So I still have heart damage, but for almost 7 years, I have been able to travel, to pack. We've moved 3 times. I've been able to help pack and unpack and help with 6 grandbabies that were born. And I have not needed a nap since January of 2019. And I haven't had any chest pain. Oh, and I also lost 40 pounds and 50 inches, but I saw the improvement in my energy and all of that before the weight came off, which came off pretty easily.
Wow, I just love it. I love it. And having heard so many stories and having my own story myself, each story is just so beautiful. And the fact that you could still be here and still have energy and not nap and be around your family. I mean, this is everybody's dream come true. I have a question. So we know our system is based on a protocol of, flooding our body with protein pacing, quality protein, and an intermittent fasting, botanically supported. Did you alter the system at all with being in your situation? Did you do the full intermittent fasting days? And you did.
Yes, because I was told this was the system. And what I tell people now is I say good, better, best. You want best results the quickest, then, or you want good results that will take more time, manage your expectations. But I was so convinced that this was not going to work. And I knew there was a 30-day money back guarantee, but with integrity, I wanted to be able to say, I followed the system and it didn't work. So I followed the system with the 2-day intermittent fasting twice. And the second set of cleanse days, intermittent fasting days, is when the light went on and I wasn't able to sleep and I had so much energy. I saw some improvement after the first time. That would have been week 2. But because I did do more shake days at the beginning. But anyway, I saw some improvement, but I thought it was psychosomatic. So I followed it. And by week 3, I knew this was a lifestyle. I had found what was going to help me enjoy life. And looking back, that was right about the time I was hitting the really in the depths of perimenopause and now menopause. I mean, I'm 60 now, and I have had no claims, my story, but I have had very few symptoms going through this. And now, when I have been learning more about that process with the hormone changes, when you are dealing with toxins, you're focusing on removing that visceral fat around the organs, when you're focusing on protein pacing, it mitigates a lot of those menopause symptoms that many struggle with. So I am just so thankful for the timing, and that I can feel and sleep so well, even in the midst of a time that's usually very challenging for people, for women.
Do you take the Harmonia then too to support this, or is that not something you need at the moment?
Well, I tell you, when this system works so well, and people that had known me for almost 20 years saw the change, they asked me what I was doing, and I started helping people, and I earned over $20,000 that year just helping people, and I realized this was a way I could help our family and retirement and things. And I've loved being able to pay it forward with other people. Well, part of being more resource, a better resource for my clients is that I want to be familiar with the catalog. So once, and I should say that once I had this experience and my health turned around, I wanted to know what I had just done. And I did a deep dive into the science, found the 20 plus third party studies, many of them comparing our system to the heart healthy diet with great success. Anyway, so I've learned to trust the integrity of the company, the cleanness, the purity, the all the different the ways that we approach things. So when they launch something new, I try it
Yeah,
just so I can at least have a reference point. And I did the Harmonia, assuming that there would be no change,
right.
because I wasn't struggling with typical menopause issues. But I tell you, between month 3 and month 4, I saw some changes that were significant enough that it's going to be daily. So, anyway, I'm happy to talk privately with that. But it's just been, so I do use that as a support. But I mean, I started that when I was 60.
Well, that's just pretty much my experience too. And I love the way you worded it, right? Because I too like to try everything. And right now, I've been taking this since our NAD came out. And I just was thinking this morning how grateful I was that I immediately got on this because it was such a game changer. And I learned so much about NAD and more, about telomere support. But the Harmonia surprised me, like you said, because I am through menopause. And I saw what it was saying. It can help with, pre and during. And I was like, gosh, I wish I'd had that when I was going through it because I had worked out this cool thing because I had the lavender farm when I was really going through it, and I had a menopause lavender spray, and I'd keep it by my bed because I had mostly issues at night, and so I would spray myself with the lavender spray, and it would calm me down and put me back to sleep, cool me off, and so I was doing it, the whole plant healing for a long time. But boy, I wish I had had something like Harmonia and the science and Dr. Mia Chorney and everything that we have to learn. I'm just so impressed and aligned with the way that this company does things, and I'm just grateful. So I try everything too, and probably can safely say I love a lot of it. I mean, it's my lifestyle. And the protein pacing, learning so much from Dr. Arciero about how when we are pacing it like that, we can kind of keep our hormones in balance. We can keep things more, even keeled. We can have our mood is better. Everything is better, all the way to our hair and our energy levels, of course. So super grateful for the education and the knowledge. But this story with yours is just so impressive, and I'm so grateful. So do you, because I pretty much follow the system every day. I do shake days, and when I feel I need it, I do my cleanse days, and I'm pretty consistent. Do you still today follow it every day?
Well, today is day 1 of a 2-day cleanse. So, yes, I love the flexibility. We now have 4 married sons, daughter-in-laws, the grandchildren, they live different states. We have a lot of people coming through our home. I love that I can, flex what I'm doing with my lifestyle and maintain the energy, but I can tell because this system moves your body from acidic to alkaline, and when I have had I can tell when I'm out of balance because then I start having cravings again because
Mhm.
I don't have cravings when my body's balanced. Um, and I may have, I can just tell I'm just not at my best. And so we have just had a very busy 3 weeks with a lot of extra things thrown in. And I know this is what my body needs. And I'm thankful that my husband and I do these together. So it works out great for meal planning. And then we have a trip coming up for to go visit some of our kids, and we'll just do another one when we get back and get reset. So I love that flexibility, and also having a balanced meal that's dense nutrition and the amazing protein for $4. Yes. I mean, you can't get almost any meal for $4, and to know that it's fueling my body so well. So,
Absolutely. I'm having the maple brown sugar plant-based right now. 90% of the time I'm drinking the whey because of the quality
mhm,
and what it really does for our bodies, but I love the plant-based as well, and I like to sprinkle it in for diversity. But what I heard you there and what is so important to me and what really helps us to live more joyfully
mhm,
and in the moment, right, is that intuitive eating, intuitively, listening to your body, like you said, and knowing when you need it. And that's how I do it
mhm,
too. I use it as a tool to help reset so that I can enjoy that lemon pound
mhm,
cake that somebody brought over to have tea with me. I don't have to be fanatic or extreme. I'm like, I did the no sugar and it worked for a bit, but anything extreme for me is not really a good way. But now, like you said, I don't have the cravings for things, and I can enjoy my
mhm,
food and be more
mhm,
intentional and mindful. And we are moving as a society towards more functional foods, functional beverages. I've been
mhm,
really seeing how alcohol use is way down, especially among our younger generation.
mhm,
And this is something that can really be a benefit. It is a toxin, it's a neurotoxin. It can stand in the way of releasing inflammation. So I'm just
mhm.
grateful to have a functional beverage. In fact, I always have a Bia. This is my Bia because I love having adaptogens and probiotics and prebiotics and things that are really helping and supporting my
Mhm,
goals. And when I'm putting them in my mouth, just like the words that I'm saying, I'm very careful that they're supporting my goals and not
mhm,
sabotaging myself. And, we'll wrap it up here in a second, but I just, the thoughts around how I like to, and you too, we're entrepreneurs, and I like to support entrepreneurs. And entrepreneurs are always looking how they can build and grow their business or whatever they're doing.
mhm,
And I can promise you, I have seen that when people take care of themselves physically and mentally and do the work, the deep inner work, right? Not just masking it with a drug or a medication, but doing the work, letting go of the resentments, healing yourself through gratitude, taking the intermittent fasting and protocol of protein pacing, and being mindful and intentional, everything can be better, and you can attract the results that you want because it's all energy. And so I love that about Isogenics, that they also give us that opportunity to help others, to lift others up into a
mhm,
better way, and to help and support them in not only physically, but financially. So thank you for sharing that right away you were able to earn income. This is a huge benefit to people because financial stress, it just causes so much havoc in your body, and it's mental chaos, and you can't really see the solutions through the fog. So you've got to find the ways to address that physically, of course, but also financially. And so I love that we have that whole package. So I really appreciate you
mhm.
sharing that. So to kind of close us out here, what would you like to share with everybody, and what tip would you like to give them so they too can have their happy ending story like you?
Well, something that I heard that's really been motivating me, I heard this 2 years ago, I think it was the event where you first heard my story. Dr. Paul Arciero was sharing something, and that was a light bulb moment and has really motivated me on giving me a passion for paying this forward even more. And he was talking about the gap we have, and I've seen this in numerous publications since, but that was the first place I heard it, between our lifespan and our health span. So the time when our health breaks down to the point where we breathe our last is now more than 12 years, and it's growing. And it's, as a society, our health is breaking down. So looking at, I've heard it referred to, I think it was Dr. Attia talking about our last decade, the decade of longevity or whatever. But I am passionate about trying to promote wellness. I would, and understanding that the choices we're making in our 30s, our 40s, our 50s, and our 60s are really making a difference. And I knew that we lost muscle as we age, especially women once we're dealing with hormone changes. But I thought it was this muscle. I didn't realize that it's skeletal muscle. It's
Mhm.
what keeps us independent. It's what's helping us stay out of the nursing homes and having limited ability to function. And anyway, so I love that we can intentionally affect our future quality of life by choices today and be able to enjoy the life while we're doing it. It's not one of restriction. So,
Wow, that was just so beautifully said. I would like to add to our brain muscle. So our choices are, this is muscle also declines,
mhm,
right? And
mhm,
so, and our skeletal muscle and our fascia and trauma gets stored
mhm,
in our fascia, in our body. And
mhm,
if you aren't resolving the trauma mentally and emotionally, it can get stuck there. And so when everything is stuck and then it's starting to deteriorate, you can see that the quality of life is not going to be very fun or joyful. So absolutely, I am passionate for the same reason. And thank you for saying that, because it is so true. And I had forgotten about that. And I know quite a few people that are in that gap right now. And it's
mhm.
challenging, not only financially, because healthcare costs money,
Yes.
it's challenging emotionally, physically, on so many levels. So I'm grateful to know you and know your story, and I hope that we've inspired you out there in audience land. Thank you for listening and taking the time. I hope we've inspired you to not give up on you. You are your greatest asset. And if you aren't taking the steps and making the choices that are supporting your goals and your dreams and how you were designed, you're really missing out on an opportunity to live your best life. So I'm really excited for you to know Kathy. She's going to put her contact info in the comments. Get a hold of her if you have questions. And like she said, we don't diagnose or say that we cure anything, but we certainly get results. And it's a 30-day money-back guarantee, and you're worth trying it out. So check back with us. We'd love to support your success. And thank you so much, Kathy, for taking the time and being here and sharing so from your heart. We appreciate it.
Thank you.